You guys, Mr. Matt here, and we've just got a bunch of new information about the Immortal Empires beta. I just wanted to do a quick kind of read through and just focus on a couple of points in the blog post that Creative Assembly have released. There's not a huge amount of detailed information, but it's pretty exciting, I think. So yeah, I just wanted to cover it. Thought I'd do it as a live chat just because I haven't really had any time to prepare. I didn't get early access to these notes or anything. Usually you guys pick up stuff that I missed or whatever, so I thought I'm pretty much just going to read through it first and mostly just give my impressions. So yeah, what's new in Immortal Empires? You get straight into this list. It's got it all laid out for you there. Some of the exciting stuff that we wanted to have, like the sea lanes feature, so you can sail from the east side of the map to the west side of the map sort of thing. That's going to be in. This is Immortal Empires map that got data mined, and this was posted by Asa TJ. I'm saying his name right. On Reddit. News with Head Anchor Mercy. Yeah, that's right. Got Sergeant Mercer get up today. I was going to do a Cascade stream today, but so I thought I'd get into the cosplay. But yeah, so basically there's going to be sea lanes. So if it's anything like Empire Total War, there'll be little spots around here on the left hand side of the map. You can go there and then you can sort of teleport over to the right hand side of the map. Not sure if it's going to be instantaneous or if there'll be like a little time period where you'll disappear off the map and then you'll reappear over the other side, but yeah, there'll be little kind of like sea lane spots, I guess, where you enter on the left and right side of the map and then you'll be able to sail off the other side. I assume you can't go north to south. I mean, I guess this looks kind of like it could be sea. Maybe you can go north and south as well. Not too sure. The really exciting new thing is this dynamic endgame scenarios. Randomized mid to late game challenges are introducing to challenge the late game steamroll. The player is so powerful that there's little to no challenge left and less of a reason to complete the campaign. Think greenskin invasions or resurgences of Down Dead as a few examples. This is something that I've been wanting. I've mentioned this a few times in different, rants on live streams and stuff. This is something that is in the game Battle Brothers that I never really expected it to be something that Creative Assembly would pick up. I basically said if this is going to be like the ultimate sort of game that I want it to be, then it needs dynamic endgame scenarios like this. So this is the main feature that I'm excited about in this blog post. I'll go through everything, but this is something new. So it's not like we've seen in previous games like the Realm Divide in Shogun, the Civil War in Rome 2. These sort of late game scenarios that were sort of designed like this to counter that endgame steamroll. But for me, like the thing about the dynamic endgame scenarios, if they're put in the same way as the endgame dilemmas in Battle Brothers, is it's not just about providing a counter to the steamroll. It's about just providing more interesting content in your campaign, and also something that differentiates and makes your campaign unique. So like, yeah, again, there's very little information here, but if I assume if it's similar to what they have in Battle Brothers, basically how it plays out in Battle Brothers is there'll be one of, I think there's 3 or 4 different dilemmas that you can get. You can get greenskin invasions, undead resurgence. You can get holy war between two different cultures, 2 different human cultures. You can get noble civil war between human factions. So it'd be like different elected counts of the Empire, like fighting each other or whatever, or different factions of the High Elves or Dark Elves or whatever fighting each other. So internal civil war. And basically it sort of has a whole, it's not just a simple thing of like, 18 armies spawn on the map like Archeon's invasion. It's like, it's a whole piece with all these different aspects to it. So first of all, it'll be like foreshadowed, like, you'll have that little dilemma, you'll have that little message pop up saying that you've heard rumors of orc in a new orc war boss rising in the west or in the east or whatever, and then there'll be some little minor sort of foreshadowing, like there'll be little like orc rogue armies like popping up around the map, just like fairly weak little little raiding forces, little harassing forces just popping up. And, you know, orcs are becoming more of a theme on the map, you know. Then there'll be like little dilemmas, like, you know, the elector count of Stirland has asked for you to send, you know, aid because he's got, you know, green skin problems or whatever. And, you know, and you can do yes or no or whatever, and it'll give you different advantages, you know. Then there'll be like quests that'll feed into it, you know, like, you know, the elector counts on the eastern borders are getting harassed by greenskins. They call for your aid, and, you know, you get money for every army that you destroy, or you get you can get items for every army you destroy, or maybe don't even make it a quest thing, just make it like the greenskin armies are spawning, and every time you kill one, they've got a chance of having special magic items that you can only get from the greenskin invasion, you know. And it kind of escalates and escalates until the big bad maybe comes out, and then there's like a, you know, and maybe you get like a special unique item or special unique in battle brothers. You get special unique characters that you can only get from the dilemmas, and possibly there's loot as well that you can only get from the dilemmas. So you see what I mean? It's not just like like a bad thing that happens to your campaign that ruins your campaign. It's an opportunity. Like you're going to be like building towards that dilemma. Like, you know that the orc invasion is going to come. You're going to build like special orc, anti-orc armies. One, because you want to deal with the threat to your growing empire, but two, because you want to get that loot. You want to get those unique orc killer, you know, special orc killer units or whatever. You know, there might be like special regiments or renown that have got a theme towards like killing greenskins or something like that you can only recruit during that orc invasion dilemma, you know. So yeah, this dynamic in-game scenario thing is like potentially amazing. I hope that they like see it as, you know, I see the potential of it as like a as like not just a you know, like a cock block basically for your end game to hamper you and cause inconvenience, but like a whole new aspect of it to add like more story and more kind of depth to the game and more variety, you know. Because like, you know, and if your campaign plays out that you get the orc dilemma first, then that's going to color your whole damn campaign, whereas somebody else might play the exact same faction as you, do the exact same strategy as you, but they get like, you know, undead like, or chaos cults popping up, or some other sort of dilemma that's going to change their campaign, you know. And this whole idea of having these dynamic end game and mid game challenges so that everyone's campaign is different, it's just, I don't know, I just think it's amazing. It's so much potential. I'm super excited to see where they go with it. Yeah, like, it's just, I don't know, amazing. So yeah, they could have the portal thing happen at some point. They could have demon portals coming, not as like a standard part of the game. Like they've already said that, I'm pretty sure they've definitely confirmed there's not going to be any realm of chaos in the Immortal Empires. But there could be like a special, you know, a special end game or mid game dilemma where you get portals just for a certain period of time, so that it's not like, you know, it's not like influencing the whole game like it is in Realm of Chaos, but it's, you know, it still gives you the chance of reusing that mechanic in a fun way. Anyway, I'll go through some of the other things here, and just do a quick read through, and I am reading you guys' comments. I'm just trying to like kind of keep the video moving a little bit. It is good news. All news is good news. Access to all 86 legendary lords from all 3 Total Warhammer titles. So some people were speculating that maybe they'd only like drip feed a couple of lords in at a time. No, you're going to get all the lords straight away. Bellicor is now a legendary lord with his own faction. I assume that'll also come with a rework of his skill tree, because his skill tree is currently, you know, pretty lame. Dedicated factions for a number of the older legendary lords, including Grom Grindel, Helman Gorst, and Volkmar the Grim. So yeah, basically, you know, all the legendary lords that share a starting position with somebody else, they're going to get their own separate dedicated starting position. Plus new starting locations for 29 of the older legendary lords. That's a lot. Like 29 out of, you know, it's like 30% of the legendary lords are going to be moved. So I think that's probably a lot more than we would have suspected. Just bring up the map again. So this is the data mined map that was taken from the game files, and we assume, like last time we got a data mined map, it was 90% correct. So we assume that this is going to be pretty much what the map looks like. It may not be, because you've come out and said that this is old. It's not necessarily representative of the current version of the game, but yeah, so they said up to 30% of the lords are going to be moved. So like if you look at like Ulthuan, for example, we've got Alariel, Eltharion and Tyrion all start on there. So presumably one of them is going to be moved and not start there anymore. Maybe like, I mean, not I'm not saying one of those particular ones will be moved, but theoretically one of those could be moved. I think that's. I mean, obviously they need to space out the lords more to cover more area and make more of the map not so empty. But I'm wondering how that's going to affect confederations and stuff like that, because like for High Elves, for example, the confederation game is very strong. You can, if you start off as any of those factions, Eltharion, Alaria, or Tyrion, or Elithar, you can easily confederate all of the other three. And if you confederate Calador, you get vision on Imric, and you can confederate him as well. If you start off as Imric, you can confederate Calador and then get all of those. So it's quite easy to get the whole faction legendary lord, and a lot of people, myself included, are kind of into that, collect them all. And we've gotten used to that. Like if you play a faction in Total War Warhammer 2 Immortal Empires, you kind of, for most factions, you kind of expect at some point you're going to get all of the legendary lords. But if some of those legendary lords are sort of like on the other side of the world somewhere, like if you're in if you start off as one of those high elf factions in Ulthuan, and just say they've moved, I don't really know if it would make sense for any of them to really move, but just say they move Elthari and start position, instead of being in the Badlands, they start him in the Ogre Kingdoms or something, and he loses to Tor Yvresse. I mean, that wouldn't really happen, but just say it might be really hard to find him. You might not be able to find him until really late in the game, if at all. He might be dead by then. So I thought that was just an interesting aspect of that confederations, like you may not be able to just assume that you're going to get like all of the confederations like you used to, like sort of automatically. Excuse me. What else have I got here? Improved personal faction mechanics for a selection of the older legendary lords, such as Volkmar the Grim. I thought that was interesting that they called out Volkmar the Grim in particular. Like all like I assume that all of the game 1 and 2 factions are going to get their personal faction mechanics updated and tweaked. Well, maybe not all, but like many of them will get their faction mechanics updated and tweaked. So yeah, I don't know. I just didn't. I wasn't sure why they particularly called out Volkmar the Grim, because Volkmar the Grim's got pretty good faction mechanics already, because the Empire got a rework recently. He got updated, so he's actually got pretty strong faction mechanics, I thought, already. But yes, I don't know. Just not really sure why they've called out Volkmar the Grim particularly, but I guess he's one of the ones that's getting upgraded. New Sea Lanes feature, which allows you to move armies between distant lands and continents from one side of the map to the other without leapfrogging them all the way across the map. So, yep, Sea Lanes. So, yeah, I know a lot of people, like I know Indie Pride in particular has been calling out for this Sea Lanes, saying it was an absolute must-have. And, yeah, I kind of agree. Like, it's just massively going to improve the game, just because of the sheer size of it. If we didn't have access from left to right, it would have been, much worse. So that was, well, you might have thought it was kind of a no-brainer, but it's, they didn't necessarily have to put that in. And yeah, I think it's really good that they did. New dynamic endgame scenarios. I've already, raved on about that. I think that's really exciting. There's not much information here. There's a big range between the bare minimum that they could do with this and the absolute maximum they could do with this, and so we're gonna have to really just wait and see which end of the spectrum that goes towards, but yeah, I think if they I think this is a real game changer. I think just for the overall campaign mechanics, and the overall campaign pacing, I guess, and the way that I think it's been a problem for a while with not just Total War, but all Total Warhammer, but all Total Wars, that the end game just gets really slow and grindy. There's nothing really to lead you on to make you want to complete the campaigns, and you know, like, so, and I think this is like a massive tool for combating that. Now this next part, revamp victory conditions, most players don't end up finishing campaigns, and we want to give them better reasons and a greater level of satisfaction for doing so. As such, we've simplified the victory requirements into more meaningful objectives while avoiding any arbitrary playstyle requirements. Now, one of the big things for me for revamp victory conditions is to give you like meaningful in-game rewards. You know, I think Dame Offensive actually did a video about this ages ago. Like certain factions, there's only like a couple of factions I think that actually get an in-game reward currently. Like Wood Elves might be one of them, maybe Bretonia. But basically, for every other faction, you don't get anything for winning the campaign, right? You just play the campaign, and then it says you won, and then you can keep playing if you want, you know. Whereas like in other games, you know, you finish the campaign and then you can keep playing, but now you've got like the Sword of Destiny, or your main character's ascended to like demigodhood and has extra powers, or you've like won back the, you know, your old elite regiment's loyalty and you've got like amazing super soldiers or something, you know what I mean? So yeah, I think that the victory conditions should definitely be include rewards. There's a comment on Reddit that there will be rewards. Oh, fantastic. Do you have a link to the Reddit post? Is that something official from CA, Liz? We'll check that out. Yeah, I would have assumed that it would include rewards. It just didn't say anything here specifically about it. Well, it said greater level of satisfaction and better reasons, so I assumed that meant rewards, but it hadn't sort of like put it down specifically. But anyway, but yeah, I think, you know, these two things potentially combined, you know, could really fix that thing. It's not, you know, of making it so that you want to play into the end game. Like, you want to play into the mid game because you want to find out what dilemma you're going to get. You know, if it's greenskin, you know, you're going to be like, oh no, now I'm going to have to deal with all this greenskin stuff that typically, you know, rogue armies pop up everywhere. You know, but on the plus side, the greenskins got this special greenskin, you know, anti-greenskin elite units that I can get, or these special anti-greenskin killing weapons that I can get, or whatever, you know, these special mercenaries that I can get that are only available during the greenskin dilemma, you know. So that's how everything should be, you know. Everything should be, oh, I'm gonna have to face this challenge, but oh, I'm gonna potentially get this amazing reward that's really cool and desirable from it, you know. And yeah, so I think that was like a big criticism that Legend had about Realm of Chaos, you know, like the, you know, kind of not respecting the player's time and you know, put it in a negative way, and not sufficiently rewarding players for the challenges that they have to overcome and stuff like that. So yeah, so I think these two things really, you know, potentially are the answer to that. I'm just gonna check out this blog post. Happy to hear you're excited about this. We're looking forward to giving feedback for past games. We want to incentivize player to go for victory conditions beyond just finishing the campaign. To support this, there's now powerful rewards available for completing victory conditions. For example, the vampire counts get a permanent 30% reduction in Winds of Magic cost for spells for completing their race's victory objective. Wow, that is fantastic. Thanks, Liz. Good modding. So that's exactly the type of thing you want, right? You want every challenge that is presented to provide rewards, you know, and you want them to be like meaningful, exciting rewards that matter. Corruption rework. They seem to be focusing a bit on this corruption rework. Players have new tools for spreading and reducing corruption through more active usage of their armies. Small amounts of natural reduction will also be available to uncorrupted factions. So this is not really an exciting faction, you know, an exciting thing. It doesn't really add, you know, new gameplay or anything. This is more like addressing a pain point thing. You know, I think a lot of people are just, especially in Realm of Chaos, are just, you know, having problems with being like overwhelmed with chaos corruption and having their campaign, feeling like their campaigns are getting destroyed by it. So I guess it's just address it, saying that they're addressing that. But I think it's interesting. Like I'm guessing they're saying there's going to be a new stance that you can put your armies into, or some other sort of army actions that you can do to actually use your troops to reduce corruption in an area. I think that's cool. Anything that allows you to interact with mechanics more. Like in a strategy game, the whole name of the game is being able for you to have player agency, for you to make decisions and act on the world and change things and stuff. So anything that gives you more player agency to interact with the mechanics is a good thing. 8-player multiplayer campaigns. As a bonus, only the host of an Immortal Empires multiplayer campaign needs to own all 3 games. Friends who own only Warhammer 3 will still be able to join the campaign, although their legendary lord choices will naturally be limited to the ones they own. So that's interesting. It only mentions Warhammer 3. So I wonder, so it's saying to host the game you need to have all 3 games, and friends who only own Warhammer 3 can still play. I'm saying what about, so you have to have Warhammer 3 to play, right? That's what it's saying. What about if you own Warhammer 2 and 3? Can you use the lords from Warhammer 2 as well? I assume so. If you have 1 and 3, can you use the lords from Warhammer 1? I assume so. So yeah, it doesn't go into it too much, but yeah, I assume that's what's going on there. As you can see, enormous amount of content, plenty of new features. Why we're calling it beta. When Immortal Empires arrives in August. Oh yeah, so that's the other big news. It's coming out in August, right? So we know it's coming definitely in August now. There was, we weren't sure if it was going to be July, August, or September. Well, now we know it's definitely going to be August. You notice you'll notice that it initially appears with the beta tag until such time as we feel it no longer applies. When we first mentioned this earlier this year, we noted some concerns being raised about the decision. Will Immortal Empires be finished when it launches? Will it be implemented in smaller parts over time? How long will we have to wait till it's fully playable? These are fair questions in the absence of the proper context, so we want to take a moment to explain why we made this choice and what you can expect from Immortal Empires when it actually arrives later this year. So just talking about how, there's lots of work involved, it's, hard work, takes a long time. There was some interesting stuff in here, I think. So a lot of the races are going to be ridiculously under or overpowered, because not all of their unique faction mechanics and stuff are going to work exactly the same when they get put into the new map and put into the new rule set of Immortal Empires, of Warhammer 3. They're going to fix lighting across the battle maps. Cool. I mean, that's not really new content, but it's obviously a thing that does. Sometimes we get pretty janky lighting and stuff, so that's cool. Parity across the UI, character models, details. So it's just sort of explaining why there's a lot of work involved. They have to fix all this stuff. Corruption is also a biggie. We changed how it works fundamentally in Warhammer 3, and we're doing even more to improve it in Immortal Empires. It's a game system that touches every playable race regarding how they exploit, react to, or suffer from corruption. So it's a system that will continue to evolve until it settles in a good place. Yeah, as I said, yeah, it's not so much like a new content thing. Well, although the fact that you can now use army actions to affect it is kind of making it new content, which is cool. So yeah, this is kind of like what we're talking about with the endgame scenarios. Like, obviously you want corruption to be a difficult thing that you have to deal with, or that, it's challenging or whatever. But you also want interesting ways to interact with that and a reward for interacting with it, So I'm sure they'll be keeping that in mind as they develop that. So there's lots of stuff they could be talking about, etc. Immortal Empires Day 1. Present aim is for it to be content complete in terms of available races, factions, legendary lords, units, geography, as well as all the extra features and improvements noted in the What's New section above. You'll be able to start a full sandbox campaign and play and conquer however you wish. Use any legendary lord accessible based on your game ownership from any of the 3 games, or experiment with the old legendary lords benefiting from the revamp, especially Gorst. Okay, so apparently Gorst is going to get a revamp. Given the sheer scale of the project, there's bound to be some visual and technical bugs, and we're providing known issues when Immortal Empires goes live. Nevertheless, we're confident the game mode will be massive, packed with content, functional and fun on day 1. Cool, that's all I want. I don't care how buggy it is, as long as it's functional and packed with content and fun. That's what we want, you know. We expect there to be bugs. That's fine, you know. Hopefully the bugs won't be like, you know, game stopping, but yeah. Starting underpowered will be better. Nerfing overpowered factions are kind of suck going forward. I don't think that they're gonna choose whether to make factions underpowered or overpowered. They're just gonna be like porting all the factions in, right? And some of the factions won't make sense in the new rule set, and that will manifest in them either being overpowered or underpowered or just not working properly or whatever. You know, it's not like they're going to choose to make them over or underpowered when they come in, you know. I mean, the ones that they rework, they will obviously. But I'm saying, like, yeah, a lot of the bugs are going to just be, you know, artifacts of whatever it is that they're working with, whatever it is that they're importing in, you know. So yeah, just saying they want to get feedback. The moment Immortal Empire's beta goes live, its life truly begins. In the years to come, we'll continue honing and improving it, adding new features, improving existing ones, and introducing new content to help it grow over time. So this is kind of a big thing. Like, at the moment, like, we're in this weird hiatus, like, thing where, you know, Immortal Empires is not out yet. Warhammer 3 is not the game that we want. You know, Immortal Empires Warhammer 2 is the game we want, but it's old now, right? Now that Warhammer 3 is out with all these new stuff, new functionality, new gameplay, you know, what Immortal Empires is the old game, you know. It's not the cutting edge, it's not the latest version, you know. And so, you know, we've been used to going through this development cycle with Mortal Empires and Warhammer 2, where the game just keeps getting better and better and better, and more stuff and better and more stuff and better, and you're looking forward to the future and speculating about what could be, you know. And then now we've just got into this weird bit where it's like, no, don't like this game, can't go back to Warhammer. Well, we can. I am playing Warhammer 2 right now, actually. Can go back to Warhammer 2, but it's not the new game, you know. And so you're kind of stuck in between. So when Immortal Empires comes out, we're finally gonna be back into the proper mode of, like, everything just keeps getting better and more and better and more and better and more, you know. So even if it starts off at a bit of a busted place, you know, they might be really buggy, a lot of the factions might be screwed up, you know, I think essentially we're still going to have that feeling that you want of playing in a massive campaign with the, you know, the big map with every faction, you know, whatever dreams that you have of, like, playing your ultimate campaign, you'll be able to live them out, you know. There might just be some factions that are just wonky, you know what I mean? Like you might, like, your favorite faction might be, I don't know, Skaven. But the Skaven mechanics, when they get ported into Warhammer 3, might be all screwed up, they don't work. They might still have the ambush bug where, you know, every time you ambush an army, they become completely helpless, which basically ruins your Skaven campaign because you can't have any challenging battles because every time you fight somebody, they're helpless, you know. But you'll at least, you know, there'll be some, you'll know there's some factions that are good, there's some factions that still need to be reworked. So it sounds like, you know, Volkmar's going to get some attention, and Helman Gorst is going to get some attention. So perhaps, for example, we'll know that those factions have been reworked already, they're ready to go, and their campaigns are basically functionally, you know, correct and ready to go. And there'll be some other ones that, you know, they haven't got to yet that are still a bit wonky. You can play them if you want to, but, you know, you're going to be working around handicaps and stuff, basically. But that's okay. I'm expecting that, and I'm okay with that. You know, some of the factions are going to be crap at the start. They'll be in there, but you won't really want to play them, and some of them will be fine. Major patches will still arrive alongside new content packs as in Warhammer 2, but we'll also be releasing interim patches between the content packs as well, and we start seeing trends around certain topics and features in Immortal Empires. So this is interesting. Sorry, when we start seeing trends around certain topics and features in Immortal Empires, so they're basically saying that when they see you know, certain things that people are upset about or that people are really wanting fixed or whatever, then they'll kind of focus their energies more onto those things, I guess. So, you know, so going back to the example I was saying before, just say, you know, you can play Empire fine, you play Vampire counts fine, but when you go to play Skaven, it's terrible. If that becomes like the #1 trending thing on Reddit, fucking, you know, Skaven suck, like this game sucks because I can't play Skaven or whatever, then, you know, they'll probably like put a bit more energy into trying to fix Skaven's problems earlier, you know, or whatever, you know, perhaps. But yeah, so there has been numerous examples in the past, and there continues to be numerous examples of CA listening to people's feedback. You know, you can say they don't listen to the right feedback, or they didn't listen to the feedback that you had about a particular thing, or you know, creators have been talking about stuff for ages and they didn't fix it or whatever. But they definitely do. They do listen to feedback. I mean, they may not listen to and, you know, initiate every single bit of feedback that they get, but they definitely do listen to feedback, and there's definitely been numerous examples of feedback coming from the community and being acted on by Creative Assembly, including pretty much everything that they're doing now. You know what I mean? Like, pretty much pretty much everything in this list, you know, is stuff that's been talked about extensively online, you know, by the community. At this point, everything's been talked about extensively online by the community because it's been going for like 7 years now or whatever, you know. So yeah. So anyway, so I guess the short version is that, you know, the conversations that we have, you know, on the stream, on Reddit, on the forums, in Discord, all that stuff, you know, does matter, and, you know, we all kind of contribute to that in a small way, which is cool. Anyway, I don't want to drag it on for too long. If anyone's got any like questions or really important things that you wanted me to call out or discuss before I sign off, just write, you know, at Mercy the Mad in chat. It'll pop up, you know, it'll pop up bright orange for me. Hey Noggle, how you go? If they deliver reworks like the Beastmen, it will be really successful. The Beastmen rework was really good. Although personally, I think they made them, they're a bit too powerful and a bit too simple. There's not enough conflict with the Beastmen campaign. I feel like you just kind of play it out, and it's just like, you know, battle by numbers. Like, you don't really need to do anything hard. You just keep killing and building more stuff. But yeah, so. They said about sea lanes, but just to confirm, it is just one single map. Hey Wriggle, yeah, it's just one single map. The sea lanes are just kind of like teleport points. So they haven't said exactly how it's going to work, but we assume that basically the sea lanes are just going to be the sea lanes are just going to be like some portals that are on the sides of the map, like here and here, and you just go in there, and then you'll disappear for a few turns, and then you'll pop up over the other side of the map again. Start creating topics about Toddy and the Red Duke so we finally get them. Yeah, definitely. Yep, keep talking about Toddy and the Red Duke so we finally get them. I mean, we will get them. Like, that's the thing. Now, that's what I was saying before. Now we're in the end game, right? This is the final version. There's no more reworks. There's no more Warhammer 3s coming out, you know, with Realm of Chaos campaigns that we don't like or whatever. You know, this is just Immortal Empires. This is the real, like, this is what we've been waiting for like 7 years. This is like the ultimate game that was promised way back then. You know, the big map, all combined, the entire world, everyone, like every faction. You know, this is it. This is the real deal that's coming, you know, in just a month and a half now. Well, 2 months. 2 months. A month and a half. A month and a half to 2 months. Ninjas and Nippon. Yeah, well, it may come, you know. Like, Creative Assembly have said that they've got years worth of content planned. So I'm not saying that they're not going to make other games as well. Like, I'm sure that there'll be another game coming out in a year or so, maybe a historical game or something like that. But they're still going to be supporting this, you know, the whole time. And why wouldn't they? You know, like, Total War Warhammer is a hugely successful game. They've sold like millions of copies. They've sold heaps of DLC, and I don't see why they wouldn't continue to do so. You know. Milan says, I'm thinking Volkmar is going to start in Ostland now, have a competing religious war between him and Kestalten. Oh yeah, that's an interesting idea. Yeah, don't see why not. That's pretty cool. If Oz had a Warhammer faction, would it be only Arachnaroks and Coatls? Well, Legend has the theory that the Australian faction is the Gobos, Skarsnik. I'm actually playing a Skarsnik campaign at the moment. I'll probably jump into that after this stream. Prefer to see silver linings rather than dark clouds. Yeah, that's a good call, Rob Adamson. Like, I think it's a good time. You know, it's a good time to be a Total War Warhammer fan. It's gonna be like, it's all up and up for now. Like, I mean, you could like, you know, pick out everything that you think potentially could be wrong with the Immortal Empires, like that we haven't thought of yet or whatever. But I mean, historically, like, Creative Assembly teams seems to be pretty good at just, you know, bringing out good stuff, and even if it's a bit broken at first, like, it just keeps getting better and better, you know. And like, I 100% believe that's what's going to happen here, you know. It doesn't matter, like, even if Immortal Empires is buggy when it first comes out or whatever, or there's some initial backlash, people don't like it or whatever, like, I have absolutely no doubt that it will get fixed up, you know, and it will be amazing, like, eventually. And it'll be like a process, you know, and, you know, I'm happy to be around for that. Yeah, I think it'll be good. Like, a lot of people, like, you know, they get upset because the game's not in the sort of like final form, how it should be already. Like, you know, like, people sort of criticize the industry and stuff, and like how companies don't put in the extra effort or whatever to get games ready as they should be. But it was always like Immortal Empires and the whole Total War franchise. That was what we bought into from the start. You know, they said, look, we're gonna make the biggest, best, most comprehensive, amazing Warhammer game that's ever been made, basically. You know, and we can't do it in one game, so it's going to be done split over 3 games. So you're not going to get the full game for like 10 years from now. You know, and that's like, I've been happy to be part of that. You know, like, I could have just not played it for 10 years, and then 3 years from now I could start playing it and it'll all be ready to rock and roll. But like, there's a lot of joy to be had in actually taking part in that process, you know. One, because the game's really fun, and 2, because it's kind of cool to be part of the history of this thing, you know. I think it's just a cool thing. Anyway, I might I think like the density of like the discussion about this is probably going to go down now. So I might just sort of cut this video short. I'm going to start a new stream, just playing some Total War Warhammer 2, playing some Gobos, playing a Skarsnik. I'll keep this map and stuff and the blog post and everything in the background, so if we think of any other discussion points or whatever, we can bring it up. But yeah, I'm just going to end this stream, and I'm just going to start a new stream with Skarsnik. So if anyone wants to come over, a little button will pop up and you can come over and join me over there. All right, thanks a lot, guys. Look forward to chatting with you more in the Skarsnik stream, which is starting now.